Good morning. This is the list for data mining experiments. It starts from database creation using ER models that we already performed. The second experiment that was pre-processing of textual and numeric data for data mining task. We already done it in the lab. Next is our linear regression model that we studied and implemented in our laboratory. And the fourth one is frequent item set selection, under which we performed finding singletons, then finding doubletons, finding tripletons, and after completing all these three, we mined the association rules from the data set given to us. And the fifth one that was initiated in the labs but was not completed was your entity matching. So it was half done in the lab, and now we are going to start with from this experiment, that is entity matching. The next few in the list are network mining, sentiment analysis, named entity recognition, and many more. I'll be providing you the list sometime after. So let us start from entity matching experiment. So the problem statement, or what actually we mean by this entity matching problem. Let there be two databases which are managing the information regarding same type of events. For example, you may say that there are two uh, project management websites. One is Ruby Forge and one is Ruby Gems. They both of them were managing information about the projects being undertaken by them. Ruby Forge was started in early 80s, while Ruby Gem came into existence in 90s or after that. Now, some of the clients or some of the projects from Ruby Forge may have also shifted to Ruby Gems. So the overall purpose of this experiment is to find those overlapping entities, or you may say finding the customers, finding the projects which were earlier uh, with the Ruby Forge organization, but later on shifted to Ruby Gems. So we want to have a list of those projects which were in a state of overlapping in both of these websites, both of these organizations. So we'll be applying entity matching to them, and we'll be matching their names, or you can say project names. We'll be matching their description, we'll be matching upon the persons which are working for a particular project in both the organizations, and many more things which we are going to match. And after matching, we want to have up to a conclusion where we can say that this is the particular project which was started with Ruby Forge but now shifted to Ruby Jam. And for making life much easier, in the further, in you can say future discussions, will be naming Ruby Forge as RF, and we will be uh, naming Ruby Gems as RG. So RF means Ruby Forge, Ruby, and RG means Ruby Gems. So this is the problem statement. uh, Now uh, we are going to apply, or we are going to match the names of projects, the names of their developers, the names of uh, their organizations, the description. Most of the data will be in the form of text. So there are many methods of matching text, and out of those many, three are commonly used. One is your Hamming distance, second is your Levenshtein distance, and third one is your Soundex property. So the Hamming distance actually is a measure of the number of character substitutions needed to turn one string into another. And when the Levenshtein distance is the minimum number of substitutions, deletions, or insertions required to change or required to formulate one string in the form of the another one. So this is the actual meaning of both these distances, which are very heavily used in most of the text processing applications. Out here in the slide, now we have provided with the example of blue and glue, and found the image distance for the blue and glue also, and Levenshtein distance for blue and glue, and many more examples also. So let us move to the third one, that is the Soundex. Soundex works upon phonetics of your strings or text. For example, let there be a word Peters. So its soundex code will be containing the first letter P, or you can say that the first letter of each word is to be retained in the soundex code. Now vowels, all five vowels A, E, I, O, U are to be left. Means we just ignore the vowels while generating the soundex code. Now the first consonant, that is T, is to be searched in a soundex table. Soundex table contains a particular code in the range of 1 to 6 for all the consonants. So first consonant is T. T is to be coded as equal to 3. So P3, and next consonant is R. R is to be coded as equal to 6. So the next digit is 6, and last consonant is S. S is to be coded as 2. So its final soundex code comes out to be equal to P362. In this way, all the strings, all the words are to be coded in the form of soundex or in the form of phonetics, and once they are coded in soundex, then we may easily compare them by just going through their values, whether, or you can say how much similar both of them are. So in this way this works. After going through the soundex, let us talk about the dataset we are having. Uh, Now, our dataset is containing two data bases. One is for RF, one is for RG. Or you can say, to be very simple, that in a single database there are five tables. Out of these five tables, three belongs to your RF data, you can say, set or RF organization, and two tables belongs to your RG organization. So our overall purpose is to find overlapping projects between these two organizations with the help of entity matching. So let us go through their schema. For RF organization, there are three tables. One is RF underscore entities. Second one is RF underscore entities people. Third one is RF underscore entity topics. The schema for RF entities is that it contains four fields. One is project name, long name, URL and description, and out of these four, project name will act as its primary key. For the second table, that is RF entity people, it is a table consisting of three fields. One is project name, again a primary key. Second one is developer name, developer username. Uh, it is again a part of primary key. It means it makes use of composite primary key. And the third one is developer's real name. The third table, that is RF entity topics, contains discussions, or you can say it contains description of the topics on which, or you can say for which project P belongs. It is a table spreading over two fields, project name and topic. Again, a composite kind of key that is made of project name and topic acts as its primary key. So these three tables are for your RF organization. And the next one, that is RG organization, again consists of two tables. One is RG entity. RG entities contains project name, same as that of the project name of RF entities, and the second field is URL for the project. Third one is description of the project. Project name is again the primary key for this, and second one is RG underscore entity underscore people, which contains the description, or you can say details of the people or developers which are working for that particular project. So this is the overall schema for both the organizations which are to be stored as a database. Now let us go for the data that is to be filled, that is to be inserted in all these tables. This data set is already provided to us in the form of SQL files. The SQL files are of the form of this RFRG data. Now if we try to have a look upon this data, it will take some time as it contains lakhs of entries or some creation or insertion statements. So this is the file that contains description of how to create and how to insert the entries. Very simple SQL statements are there. First one is create a table if not exists, that is create book underscore rf underscore entities. So this table is to be created, which is our this first one, rf underscore entities. And in the same way there are other five tables enlisted in this using create statement, and after creating a particular table there are insertion statement for each table which populate the individual table. It means this file contains creation and the actual data that is to be inserted on or in all these five tables. So this is the .sql file that is provided to us. By using this SQL file we'll be populating all these tables. Now the second file that is provided to us is this. It is a create table statement, and for creation of book underscore entity underscore matches. So this is the final table or resultant table which we are going to which we are going to populate from the given five table with the help of five tables. And it contains again certain fields, that is rf project name, rg project name, url, etc., which I will be discussing later on. So these are two SQL files given to us. Let us try to create, or you can say populate, the database. For creating database we need to go for start of our SQL server. Let us start it. So we started SQL server, and then let us look how many databases are already there in the database and try to import the SQL file that is just explained earlier. So we have to create a new database. Let us name it rfrg, means name containing name, which is a concatenation of both the organization's name. We created this database, that is rfrg, and now we are going to import the first SQL file, choose file, and then from there rfrg data we are going to import. It is important, and then we are going to execute it. So it is being executed as it contains a lot many insertion statements. So it's very obvious that it will take certain time, 5 or 10 seconds. We need to wait till. And after importing the data, or after populating all these five tables, our next task is to run the second file, means the file which create the table for carrying our results, which we have just gone through. So let us wait for this statement to complete. So it has just finished the execution, and now after execution of the .sql command or .sql file, we can observe that our all five tables have been populated. Let us go through the first table, that is rf underscore entities. It contains uh, the project name, then log name, then url, then description. And if we try to match, it means this is our first table, rf underscore entities, containing all these field names, that is project name, long name, url, and further. Now go through the second table, which is entity underscore people. Entity underscore people was containing project name, developer username, and developer real name. These are three fields. And then third one as well as fourth one. It means by using that particular file or that particular SQL statements, we created and populated all the requisite tables. Now it is the turn for importing second SQL file. So import the second one, import, then choose file, and then choose rfrg. The file is important. Now execute this. The execution of this results in creation of your resultant table, that is named as book entity matches. If we look at this, then this is an empty table containing distributed over 5 or 6 fields, which is rf project name, rg project name, url, Levenstein distance, name soundx, RG soundx, etc. So it is an empty table. Uh, so let us again move to the database schema, which is given as in the form of 5 tables. Now our overall purpose is to generate the overlapping entities, overlapping rows, or you can say the projects names which are there in RF table as well as which are there in RG table. Plus there is certain more information that is common in between them, so that we can say by confirmation that these are the projects which were earlier with RF and now have been shifted to RG, so that the companies can take their own policy decision. So for solving this problem, uh, the first, or you can say, name guess that came in our mind is to go for project name matching. Means to say, our RF entities contain project name, and our RG entities also contain the project name as primary key. So first, uh, you can say method, or you can say first name approach can be matching based upon their project names, and the second one is on the basis of their URLs. Means match the URL of RF table to the match to the URL of your RG tables. So these are two probable matches which we should pursue to check, or you can say to obtain certain raw information about probable overlapped projects matching. So we will be following these two steps first, and then after that we will be matching the other fields also. So the overall logic behind the implementation or behind this experiment will be, first step is to run a simple SQL select to find project pairs with matching URLs. Add these to the candidate list. Candidate list is our the final table, that was book match table, match entities table, which is uh, the second step is to run a simple SQL query to find the project pairs matching upon their uh, names. First one was actually matching upon their URL, second one was matching upon their names. So after generating an intermediate table that contains matching names and matching URLs, we have to fill the table with their more details, some from the RF database, or you can say RF project, and others from your RG project. And after populating the resultant table, we are going to apply some edit distance or distance measures to compute the quotient in which two fields were matched, in which two URLs were matched, in which two names were matched. So it is listed as point number 3. Calculate the Levenshtein distance on URLs, calculate the Levenshtein distance on names. What actually is the Levenshtein distance giving? If Levenshtein distance is 0, it means two names are same. If Levenshtein distance is not 0, it means they are different. So we want to have a quantification of that match. Third one is set boolean. Means we will be considering 3 or 4 boolean variables for checking whether the name, or you can say project name in RF incorporation matches, or you can say found somewhere in the RG project names. Means it was not completely matching, but a part of it was matching. In if it is true, then we are going to set that particular variable 1, otherwise it will be equal to 0. The second one is if RF name found in RG URL, means there are chances that the name of a project may be a part of URL somewhere. And the third one is if RF developer found in the list of RG developers. It means if there are certain names which were earlier working with some projects in RF organization, and now later on they shifted to RG and working on some project B in the RF organization. So if it is true, then this variable is going to be set as equal to 1. So these 3 or 4 boolean variables along with these Levenshtein distances are going to act as our decision making parameters, decision making variables. So these were the steps which we should follow while finding the overlapping project details from these two organizations data. Now let us pursue the implementation of the experiment. So let us start thinking about the implementation of first two steps, that is matching names and matching URLs. If we look at the database schema, that is rf underscore entities, rf underscore entities contains two fields. One is project name, that is acting as primary key, long name, URL description. And now look at RG entities. RG entities again contain a field that is project name, again acting as your primary key. So for obtaining the project names which are there in RF as well as in RG, we have to make an inner join of these two tables, RF entity tables and RG entity tables, such that, or you can say, we have to make inner join on the field that is the project name, and we have to populate, or we have to insert all those project names uh, in the RF table as well as in the RG table into our resultant table, which is named as your book entity matches table. So these two uh, statements are first to be executed. Let us see how to start programming. So let us try, or you can say, let us program it down. First, go to your Jupyter notebook, open it on the local host, launch it on the open host, taking some time. So we have just launched our Jupyter notebook, and within Jupyter notebook, let me go to uh, the entity matching. Uh, so this is your entity matching code. The first block is for our first block is simply the database connection setup. We imported NLTK library, and we have to import the soundx, but somehow this soundx was not working well, so I installed the jellyfish and imported jellyfish out here. And database connection is made with database RFRG that we have just created, along with certain credentials, password, host, user, etc., and created the cursor for this database. Now this is our now run it. It means our database connection is fine. We obtained a cursor for the same. Now look at this statement. This statement is for the uh, performing first out of the two steps. It means we were making a check upon, or you can say, the overall code, overall logic of the program was first to match the two projects with same URLs, and then to go for same names. So this is for the first one, means we need to insert into the resultant or book entity matches the project name from RF, project name from RG, obtained from the inner join of both these table, that is uh, book RG entities and book RF entities on the field URL. Means to say, we have to inner join these two tables on matching URLs, and then to extract the project name from RF and RG, project name from RG, and to insert into the resultant table, that is book entity matches. So initially we have just seen that our final database is empty, our final table, that is book entity underscore matches, is empty. And now try to execute this. If we execute this, then some rows are going to be inserted in our book entity matches table. So it will take time as there are many number of rows to be inserted. So the execution is complete and it returned an empty result, means there were no two rows, or you can say no two entries in RF or RG where their project names are same. That is why it returned as zero number of rows. Now move to the second, or you can say third block, that is uh, uh, this one. So it is performing, or you can say it is making inner join based upon the URLs. Means it is going to check whether the two project entries in different uh, organizations data, means RF and RG, are having same URLs. If they are having same URLs, then their project name from RF and project name from RG are to be inserted into the resultant table. And once matching entry is found, we have to take care that the row containing RF project name and RG project name do not exist due to the effect of earlier query. It means we need to avoid the queries, or we need to avoid the rows which are already existing due to the effect of this statement. So this is being shown, this is being represented using these statements. It means we have to insert only those entries which are not already there. So try to run it, and if we executed this uh, and try to check the effect of this execution, then it inserted 5400, you can say 5400 rows were inserted. It means it found 5400 rows, 400 projects which were matching on their POs. So okay, now let us try to understand this people query. To better understand this people query, let us go to the database schema, and for structure of your final resultant table, which is book entity matches, it contains RF project name that is already there, RG project name which has already been filled. Now this is the URL Levenshtein distance. For calculating the URL Levenshtein distance, we need to have their URLs which are not yet inserted, which are not yet found. So, so number one task that is still remains is to find the corresponding URLs. And now move to the third one, RF name soundx we can easily calculate using this. RG soundx we can easily calculate using this. Name Levenshtein, or a third one, that is RG name in RF name in RG, we can easily calculate this. RF name in RG URL, if we calculated the RG URL, then by using RF name we can calculate this field also. Now the main concern out here is this last one, that is RF developer in RG developer. It denotes, or you can say it represents the existence of some developers from RF organization in the list of developers in RG organization under some project. If it is the case, then we will say that they, or you can say there is possibility that both those projects are same. So the people query is written for calculation, or for fulfillment of this particular field in this table. So let us move to its logic. What it says is that people query is equal to select RF developer username, RF developer real name. Actually what happens is that there are this is the schema, and for RF entities, under RF entity people, there are two names for the developers. One is developer username, one is developer real name. So we need to make a check upon two names, and correspondingly there is only one name for the RG entity table, that is the person name. So this person name may match to the developer username, or it may also match to the developer real name. So we have to make both these checks for filling that or for finding that particular entry. So let us move to the logic. What it says is that it is the query that is requiring three arguments represented as percentages, percentages and percentages. So let us assume that the three arguments are of the nature that is a comma b comma b, where a is the project name from RF dataset, b is the a is the project name from RF dataset, b is the project name from RG dataset. Again, third b is also the project name of the RG's dataset, means a b b. Last two are just repeated. So if these three are passed to this query as arguments, then what it do is it is selecting developer username from RF and developer real name from RF. Two developer username and developer real name both from RF dataset are to be selected from RF entity people, which is referenced as now RF. Now actually we need to first resolve the references. Here RF means RF entity people and RG means RG entity people. So these are two references. So we are going to select developer username from RF, developer real name from RF from the table RF entry, where project name is equal to A. It means three arguments. First argument will go to this percentages, that is where project name is A, and reference RF developer username in. It means the developer's name should exist in the other table also. The overall concept is that pick the name A and try to match it with the username or with the person name that is existing in RG table. So pick the project name from RF and try to match it with some project name, with some person who is working under some project uh, with name as equal to B. If that person exists, it means we need to select those developer username and developer real. And as I have just told you that there are two names in RF table, that is developer username and developer real name, and this check is only for uh, the this check is only for the developer username. The next check is to be made for developer real name. So this is the check for developer's real name, means developer username may also match to the name existing in RG table, or developer real name can also match to the person's name in RG table. So both these are to be considered. If any of these matches, then we have to extract these two entries and select them, and we need to select them and return as result. Now let us move further. Update query we will look later. Now there is a cursor. What exactly it is doing? It says that select BEM. Okay, before pursuing further, let us first try to resolve the references. This BEM refers to the uh, resultant table, that is RFRG book entity matches. The sixth table we are talking about, that is named as BEM, and the RGE is our book RGE entities table. RGE means book RG entities table, and RFE means book RF entities table. So these are references given: BME, RGE and RFE. Now let us look what exactly this query is doing. Select uh, resultant project name, resultant uh, project name from RG, resultant project name from RF, and URL from RFE, URL from RGE, where RFE denotes your this book RF this one, the second one, RF, this one is referred to as RFE. So from this table select URL, this one RFE URL, and from this table this one select RGE, means this URL. It means we are going to select the names um, of a project which was coming from RF table uh, and going to the resultant table, plus the name which of the project which was coming from RG table and was stored in your resultant table. Along with them, we are we are going to extract the matching URL corresponding to this name in the RFE and corresponding to the second name in RGE. So we are going to select these four, and for selecting these we have to perform inner join of RF project name with the RFE. So we are going to perform inner join of this project name or RF project name from the resultant table with the RFE, this one. So this inner join is performed based upon their project name, and the second one, that is this RG name, is to be performed on this RGE table, and correspondingly the result of these joins is extracted as the URLs. RFE URL and RGE URLs are to be extracted from these. So the result of this query is going to be tuples containing four entries. One is the name from the RF, name from project name from RG, then URL from RF, then URL from RG. So result of this goes to your project pairs. Let us execute this. Executed. It means the project pair now contains a tuple containing the four entries containing the four field tuples containing four fields. Now for each of these rows which are generated as part of this query, we have to perform some iterative work. What that work is, that for each project pair in these project pairs, we have to pick first row which was containing RF project name, RG project name, RF URL, RG URL. Now where we are exactly now, that we are sitting in this table, we already know RF project name, we already know RG project name. Now we know RG URL, we know RF URL. So we can easily calculate URL Levenshtein distance, we can easily calculate name soundx, we can calculate RG name soundx, we can calculate name Levenshtein, we can calculate RF name in RG name, and we can also calculate this if RF name in RF URL, because we know the URLs from both the projects, both the data sets. Now this is still an unknown field. So next thing we are going to solve is for this developers. So let us look at this block for each, or you can say for project pair in project pairs, for all rows which were result of this execution. We extracted RF name in the R capital F name, means first entry from the tuple, second goes to RG name, third one goes to RF URL, fourth one goes to RG URL. So each row was containing four items, four are extracted in these variables. Now we converted them back into lowercase so that we can easily match them. And now next task is to calculate Levenshtein distance between names. So this is the function for calculating the Levenshtein distance. Next we need to calculate Levenshtein distance between URLs. This is the function for calculating Levenshtein distance. Now we have to calculate soundx for RF name from jellyfish. Using soundx function we calculated it. Soundx for RG name also we have to calculate, and using this statement. So till now we calculated the Levenshtein distances and soundx distances. Now if we observe this table, then this one, this one, this one, this one, next, it means they all are calculated. Now the last one is still left. Now come to this last one. Before going to last one, some which are left earlier is if rf name in lowercase in rg name in lowercase, simple python statement, if it is a substring, then this bit is going to be set as equal to 1, otherwise it is going to be set as equal to 0. So it will be going in this field. If rf name in rg name, if rf name in rg url. So next one is rf name in lowercase in rg url. So this one again calculates, if it is a substring, then this bit will be equal to 1, otherwise this bit will be equal to 0. So we calculated all these fields except the last one. Now for this last one, we have to execute a cursor, that is cursor execute people query, that we have just looked in. So this people query will be called with three arguments. One is rf name, let it be a, then rg name, let it be b, rg name, let it be b. So it will be called with a comma b comma b. So this the control, or you can say it will be going to resolve using this query which we have just discussed, that it returns developer username and developer real name if there are certain developers which are common in rf table and in rg table. So it is going to return them as the result. Now result of this query was stored in result, and it fetched the first one out of this. If the result is not none, it means there was at least a single developer corresponding to project A that was also working in the project listed under RG. Then this result is not going to be none. It means we are going to set this bit as equal to 1, otherwise this bit will be set equal to 0. So this way this last field will be you can say updated. So this is the logic for updation of your last field and the resultant table. And after that we need to execute a cursor, that is update query. And what update query is doing, this is our update query. Update query says that update book entity matches, or you can say update the final table with what? We have to insert rf name soundx, it will be passed from that block, this one. We have just calculated all these here. So all these are to be passed as arguments, and it will be updated using update query. So update query will be modifying all these fields. These all fields will be taken care of, will be updated by using update query. So these will be passed as arguments, and these will be updated using this. Now let us again recall that these fields are blank. After execution of this query, they all should be filled. What it says is that name people query is not defined. It means we have not compiled, or update query was not compiled and executed. So run it, and again run it also, and now try to run this. So it is executed, and now if we observe this table, then these all entries are updated, they are having some values or the other. It means this query is performed all updations throughout the resultant table. Okay, now let us try to know how many number of rows are actually there in the final result. Let us try to print them. So there are 5400 rows which are there in our resultant table, which is our book entity matches. It contains 5400 rows. So these rows are the probable overlapping projects, overlapping entries from RF and RG. Now we have to decide, or whether all these 5400 rows are actually overlapping or not. Or I can say that if two projects are just same by their name, can we say that they were same projects? If two projects are sharing the same, you can say URL structure, can we say that they are same? No, not at all. We need to look at the other parameters also, other features also. So just apart from these two, we have to look after whether they are sharing some names also, whether they are sharing uh, some overlapping developers also. So collectively we have to decide upon. So for that, for making that decision, we have to look for certain efficiency, or you can say uh, effectiveness parameters of any information retrieval system. So how to decide how effective an information retrieval system is? For judging effectiveness of a system, we are having four conventional parameters. One is accuracy, the second one is precision, then recall, and then the specificity. Now the precision is the number of correct guesses, or you can say true positives, divided by the number of guesses that we produced actually. This is the definition for our precision. So it will be equal to the number of correct guesses divided by the number of guesses that we propose. So uh, let us try to understand this concept of true positives, true negatives, false positive, false negative by an example. Let it is the representation for result generated by a particular system for particular entity matching algorithm, which says that first column is that this Richard Lewis matches Rick Lewis. Our proposed system has shown it as yes, means they were matching, but the correct answer, or you can say ground truth, was also yes. So this will go to the true positives, means our system indicated it as positive, and which was true when we verified it from the actual result from the ground truth. Now go to the second one. In the second one, second row was indicated as no or as negative, but it was actually positive. So our system generated it as negative, but the ground truth was positive, so we can say that our system generated it as false negative. So it is the case of our false negative. And next, go to this one, RLU matches RLIU. Our system generated yes. Our system generated a positive response, but actual ground truth says no or negative. So it means the positive generated by our system is false. That is why named as false positive. Now come to the next one, that is U matches Richard. Our system generated no, and it was actually no from the ground truth. So negation generated by our system is true in nature. So that is why it is named as true negatives. So in this way we define true positives, true negatives, false positive and false negatives, which are to be used for calculations of precision, recall and F measures, etc. So now next is our recall. Recall or let to stay for some time on precision, which is the number of correct guesses, true positives. How many true positives are there? 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 true positives were there, divided by the guesses that we proposed. Guesses in which we proposed that the result is positive. It means we have to add true positives and false positives. So true positive 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5. 5 are there. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So the precision will be equal to 4 upon 4 plus 1, that is equal to 4 upon 5. Now move to recall. Recall is the number of correct guesses, means the true positives divided by the total number of actual matches. The actual matches uh, is comprised of both true positives and false negatives. These are going to be equal to the actual matches, means true positives are actual matches, false negatives means which were generated as negatives by our system but actually they were positives. So this formula is going to generate our recall. For our case, the true positives were 1 2 3 4 were true positives, and again uh, your false negatives were 1 2, 2 were your false negatives, so 4 upon 4 plus 2, it means 4 upon 6 is going to be your recall. And next parameter is your accuracy. Accuracy is simply the number of correct guesses divided by the total number of all guesses. So we need to find the number of correct guesses and total number of all guesses. So just look at these two columns. We or you can say our system made a total 10 number of guesses, and out of these 10 guesses, one was correct, two was correct, three, then four. One true, two, three, 4, 5 and 6. 6 were the correct guesses out of the 10 guesses. So we have to divide 6 by 10 and it comes out to be equal to zero point 0.6. So zero point 0.6 is going to be its accuracy. So the specificity means actual negatives divided by the sum of guessed negatives. So in this case, true negatives are equal to 1 and 2, 2 are true negatives, and total number of negatives is equal to 1, 2 and then 3 and 4. So 2 upon 4 is going to be our specificity. So all these four parameters are calculated as we have just discussed in this slide. So but just by looking at this table, we calculated precision um, after denoting them as true positive, true negatives, false positive and false negatives. Then we calculated recall, then we calculated its accuracy and specificity also. Now move to the next thing, that is our F measure, or you can say harmonic mean for recall and precision. Actually, recall and precision are not made for each and every application. Their behavior or their importance depends what type of nature we do expect from the output being generated by the system. Many a times recall is better, many a time precision is better. But the F measure gives their harmonic means. It means it is applicable to most of the applications. So harmonic mean or F1 measure is denoted by 2 multiplied by precision into recall upon precision plus recall. For this system, if it is calculated, it comes out to be 0.72. So 0.72 is its F measure. Okay, now let us move for calculation of the effectiveness parameters for our uh, experiment, for our project. So this was our project. In this we extracted total candidates equal to 5400. Now out of these 5400 candidates, let us look at this first block, which calculates the true positives. True positives are those rows where there is a match between the name, their URL, and further the RF name was acting was or you can say RF name acts as a substring of RG URL, and there were some developers which are common in both. So all these four things are given by this. Levenshtein distance between name is 0, between URL is also 0, RF name exists in RG URL is true, means it is there, and there are certain developers which are common in both. Then we will say that both these projects are common, both these projects are same. So if we execute this query, and this returns out to be 1037. So there are actually 1037 true positives which our system extracted. For 100% surety, we can say that these are the numbers for which there were same projects, there were overlapping um rows in both the data sets. Now come to false positives. For false positive, we divided it into two categories: false positive 1, false positive 2. False positive 1 is that uh, the rows where there is no mismatch in URL of the projects, but their names were same. Names were same, URL were not same. There was no RF name in RGURL. There was no developer in common. It means we just cannot say that if two projects are sharing same name, then they are same. It is false. So that is why we, uh, if we execute it and print its number, it comes out to be 121. So this is the FP1 false positive number one. And again in the same way, we are finding the projects which are same in URL. Means this one, they are sharing the same URL, but their soundex were different, name pronunciation was different, their name was Levisian distance was also equal to not zero, non-zero. Then there was no RF name in RG name, then there was no RF in RG URL, and there was no developer in common. So this is again the case of your false positive number 2. It comes out to be equal to 105. So this is false positive. If we add 1 221 105, then it comes out to be 226 is the false positive. These are true positive, and just by combination of these two we can have a formulation for our precision. So this is our precision. If we execute this and try to print it, then it comes out to be 82.10, which is good one. So and this way we obtained the precision for this project, for this data mining algorithm, data mining technique. As we are not aware, or we are not provided with a way to judge false negatives, so we cannot go for recall in this case. If we want to go for that also, then we need to ground truth the rows available with negative sense also, where that they are not same. So that need a bit of time. If you can devote, then devote it and try to label, or try to uh, decide, try to put some more information about the negatives also, that it is false negative, this do not, these are not same, etc, etc. You can pursue in that direction also. So this completes your this experiment in which we were able to compare two data sets that were RF and RG by using some entity matching techniques, and we are able to find the precision also. We can also calculate other things. Thank you very much.